Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we are going to do chemistry AS 9701 paper 1 variant 2. It's multiple choice question October November 2024. Let's start with question number 1. Which species contain a different number of electrons from the other three? Okay. So for this, we have to look for a periodic table. Okay. But for chlorine, if you recall, chlorine is 17 and oxygen is 8. So 17 and there are 4 of oxygen. So 8 plus 4 is going to be 8 times 4 is going to be 32. And then one extra electron. So if you add them 18, 18, 20, there are 50 electrons in this. Okay. So there are 50 electrons over here. So hydrogen is 1, sulfur is 16, and oxygen is 8. So there are 2 hydrogens. There is 1 sulfur, and there are 4 oxygen. So 8 times 4 is 32. So 16 plus 2 is 18. 18 plus 32 is 50 electrons. So it means both of them has same electrons. So it goes wrong. Now sulfate, 2 negative. So sulfur is 16, 3, 4 oxygens makes it 32 and plus 2. So 18, 18 and 32, 50 electrons. So it also has the same electron. So C is wrong. So it means D is correct. No need to work on D because all three have the same number of electrons. So obviously D must have a different number of electrons. Now MCQ number 2. Which factor causes helium to have a higher first ionization energy than hydrogen? Okay. So in the 1s orbital in helium, electrons are paired. Okay. But actually, the first ionization energy depend upon the forces of attraction from the nucleus. So I think that is wrong. The lowest energy level in the helium is filled. Okay. Yeah, that is actually completely filled. It is filled in hydrogen as well. The nuclear charge in helium is higher than hydrogen. Yes, because helium has a nuclear charge of +2 and hydrogen have a nuclear charge of +1. So it seems correct. There is a less shielding of outer shell in the helium. Both has same shielding, not less shielding, because both have a only first shell, which is exposed to nucleus. So D goes wrong. It means C is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 3. A zero, keep your calculators with you, okay? A 0.216 gram sample of aluminum carbide reacts with an excess of water to produce methane gas. This is the only carbon containing product formed in the reaction. It means all the carbon in the carbide in the compound converts into methane. This methane gas burns in completely in oxygen to form water and carbon dioxide. Only the volume of carbon dioxide produced at room temperature is 108 centimeter cube. What is the formula of aluminium carbide? Okay. So we don't know how many carbon and aluminum are there. When they react with excess of water, all of the carbon is converted into methane, right? And that methane is producing carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide is 108 centimeter cube. Okay. So if I divide that 108 centimeter cube with 24,000 centimeter cube, so I can get the moles. Can anybody tell me the value of it? How many moles we are getting over here? Yes, 108 divided by 24,000. It's 0.0045 moles. Okay. So it means 0.0045 moles of methane has been produced. Till here, is this clear? Okay. So what we further know that in methane, the mole ratio of methane and carbon is 1:1. So it means moles of carbon are also 0.0045. So if I have to calculate the mass of carbon, so it is going to be 0.0045 multiplied by 12. 0.0045 multiplied by 12. So we got the mass that is 0.054 grams. So that is the mass of carbon. This is the mass of aluminum chloride. So if I work over here, we have a aluminum and carbon. The carbon is 0.054 grams. So it means that aluminum is 0.216 minus 0.054. So on subtracting, we will get the mass of aluminum, which is 0.1. Yes, am I audible now? I think there is a issue in the connectivity. That's why I got disconnected. Now am I audible? Okay. So yeah, here we were. Okay. So we got the mass of aluminum and carbon, that is 0.162 and 0.054. So it is going to be divided by 27, the AR of aluminum and the AR of carbon. So 0.162 divided by 27 is 0.006, and 0.054 divided by 12 is 0.0045. So the smaller value is 0.45. So we are going to divide it with 0.0045, both the values. So 0.006 divided by 0.0045 will give me 1.33, and over here 1. So as it's 1.33, it's not in the range of 0.2 to the whole number. So we are going to multiply it with the possible whole number to get the whole number, right? So we are going to multiply this with 3 and this with 3. So on multiplying this with 3, you will get 4 and you will get 3. So Al4C3. So that is D. It means A, B, and C goes wrong, and D is your correct answer. Is this clear to all of you? Now, MCQ number 4. A reaction between two gases takes place on the surface of the catalytic converter of a petrol engine car. Okay. In this reaction, 4 reactant molecules produces 3 product molecules. What could be the 2 reactant gases in the reaction? Okay. So if you recall the reaction of nitrogen monoxide reacting with carbon monoxide, what we will get? Nitrogen and carbon dioxide. To balance this, we need to put 2 over here, and we need to put 2 over here. and we need to put 2 over here. So here we are getting 3 moles and here we are getting 4 moles. So 4 moles of reactant and 3 moles of product. So it means nitrogen monoxide and carbon monoxide. So C is the answer. Then A, B, and D are wrong. So C is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 5. Okay. An ion contains 1 nitrogen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms. It has a hydrogen bond angle of approximately 105 degree, which Roy is correct. So if this is the case, that is resembles with the shape of oxygen water. So nitrogen has 2 hydrogens and a bond angle of 105 degrees, which means it must has a 2 lone pair. So if it has a 2 lone pair, okay, so it has a 2 lone pair. So 2 lone pairs are with these two. So it means A and C goes wrong. Okay. Now, the other thing is that nitrogen has 5, 7, and 5 electron in its valence shell. So if you see right now, nitrogen has 8 electrons around its valence shell. 2 are shared from the hydrogen. So 1 is the extra electron. So it has a -1 charge. So +1 makes it wrong. So the correct answer is D. Is this clear? Just give me a minute. Okay, now MCQ number 6. Why does ICl have higher boiling point than bromine? Okay. So the boiling point always depends upon, if you recall, intermolecular forces. So because of the difference in bond energies, so A is extremely wrong. Because of the difference in polar nature of ICl and Br2, yes, that is the possibility, because ICl is going to have a permanent dipole-dipole force and bromine is going to have a induced dipole, temporary dipole, or induced dipole-dipole force. Because of the difference in the number of electrons containing ICl and bromine. Yeah, but the force is going to be different because of the electronegativity. So if the both have a same type of intermolecular force, then that can be an answer. Otherwise, it's wrong. Because of the difference in the relative molecular mass, no, molecular mass doesn't need to, does not have any impact. So we are left with only B option. So B is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 7. In the question, you may assume that nitrogen behaves as an ideal gas. 1 atmosphere pressure is 101 kilopascal. Which volume does 1 gram of nitrogen occupy at 50 degrees Celsius and a pressure of 280 pressure atmospheres? Okay. So for that, we need to calculate the volume. So we are going to use the expression PV is equals to nRT. So volume is equals to nRT over P. So for a volume, n is number of moles. So 1 divided by 28 will give me the number of moles. So 1 divided by 28. So it is going to be 0.0357. So 0.0357 times R is the general gas constant, which you will find at the second last page, and it is 8.31. Then temperature is 50. So 50 plus 273, because you need a temperature in Kelvin. So it is going to be 323 divided by pressure, and pressure must be in uh, Pascal. So 2 atmosphere is 2 kilopascal. So we are going to convert the pressure into pascals. So 2 multiplied by 101,000. So it's 2 multiplied by 101,000, which is going to be 2,000, 20,200. Okay. So 0.0357 multiplied by 8.31 multiplied by 323 divided by 20,200. So we will get the volume in meter cube, and that volume we got over here is 0.00474. So multiplying it with the exponent 6, will give me the volume of 4470. That is C. So A, B, and B goes wrong, and C is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 8, which statement about the properties associated with the different types of bonding involved is correct? Okay. Any covalent compound that contains both oxygen and hydrogen in its molecule form hydrogen bond? No, it's not necessary. So A goes wrong. Ionic bonds and covalent bonds cannot both occur in the same compound. That is also wrong. There are compounds which have ionic and covalent bond both. Ionic compounds differ from metals in that ionic compounds do not conduct electricity in the solid state. Yes, that can be the answer. The only covalent compound with the high melting point are those in which hydrogen bonds occur. No, beside having no hydrogen bond between the molecules also have a high melting point. So C is the correct answer. Okay. Now MCQ number 9. For which reaction is the enthalpy change and enthalpy change of formation? So if you recall, for a formation, it is from elements to 1 mole of a compound. 1 mole of a compound. So and there must be in the standard state. So carbon is not in the standard state, so it goes wrong. That seems correct because both are gases and forming 1 mole of a compound. There is a compound, so C goes wrong. There is a compound, so D goes wrong. The reactant must be elements, so B is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 10. Two standard enthalpy changes of formation values are given. Okay. What is the enthalpy change of a reaction? Okay, of this one. Okay, so you can make the Hess cycle quickly and do it. That 3 VCl2 turning into 2 VCl3 plus V. Okay, so as the formation are given, so we are going to put the elements over here, and these elements are forming 3 moles of VCl2. So that is its enthalpy change. So it is going to be 3 times minus 452. And we are getting 2 moles of VCl3 over here. So the enthalpy change of VCl3 is minus 573. So it is going to be 2 times minus 573. And this is X. So if you see the Hess cycle, this and this. So this is indirect route and this is a direct route. So the expression is going to be 3 times minus 452 plus x is equals to 2 times minus 573. So x is equals to 2 times minus 573 minus 3 times minus 452. So 2 times minus 573 is equals to minus 1146, and that minus minus makes it plus. So 3 times 452 is equals to 1356. So 1356 minus 1146 is going to give me 210, positive 210. So that is D option. So it means A, B, and C are wrong, and D is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 11, equation for some reactions of hydrogen peroxide are given. Okay. In which reaction hydrogen peroxide acting as a reducing agent? So if it is acting as a reducing agent, so it means it is the one which is undergoing oxidation, and oxidation is the reaction or the change in which the oxidation number increases. So over here, hydrogen is -1, and over here it's -2. So it means it is undergoing reduction, and if it's undergoing reduction, so it means it's an oxidizing agent over here, which makes one wrong. And if one is wrong, so it means A and B goes are not correct. Okay. Now over here it's -1, and over here it goes 0. So yeah, it is acting as a oxidizing agent over here because it is undergoing oxidation, so it means it is acting as a reducing agent. So if it is acting as a reducing agent, so second is correct and second is in both. So over here it's -1 and 0. So again oxidation number increasing. So it means undergoing oxidation, which means it is a reducing agent. So 3. So it means D goes wrong and C is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 12. The equation for the reaction of thiosulfate S2O3 2 negative and aqueous dioxovanadium ion is shown. Which row shows two correct statements about the equation for this reaction? Okay. First one is a comparison of X and Y to Z. Okay, change in oxidation number. Okay, so let's work on the oxidation number of vanadium. Okay, so if I work, the net charge is +2 and it is -2 and two of them. So it's -4, net charge is +1. So it means V is +5. So if V is +5, so it means A and D goes wrong because they are saying that vanadium is +4. So that is for sure it is turning into +4 only because both has a +4. Okay. Now, what they are stating, X and Z are same values and quarter the value of Y. Okay. X and Z are same values and half the value of Y. Okay, so we have to figure out this. Okay. So its oxidation number is changing from +5. I'm just removing all of them. Only the one whose oxidation number is changing. So it's going from +5 to +4. Now over here, if you see, it's -2 times 3, which makes it -6. The net charge is -2. So it means the sulfur has +4 and there are two. So each sulfur has +2. Right? And over here, it's -2 times 2, which makes it -12. The net charge is -2, which means it is +10. So it means each sulfur has +2.5. Okay. So that's what we have figured out, that it is +2.5 times 4. Okay. So if you see that 4 sulfurs are going from +2 to +2.5, it means they are losing 2 electrons. So if they are losing 2 electrons, so it means there must be gain of 2 electrons, but vanadium is gaining 1 electron, so it means it is going to be 2. Okay. So if it is going to be 2, then we are going to calculate the oxygen. So over here, there are 6 oxygen, 2 times 2. Over here, there are 4 oxygen. So in total, we have a 10 oxygen on the left side. Over here, we have a 6 oxygen. Over here, we have a 2 oxygen. So we have 8 oxygens over here and 2 over here. So there are 10 over here. So we get 4 hydrogens. So 4 hydrogens makes it 4. So yeah, X and Z are same and they are half the value of Y. So that is correct because Y is 4 and X and Z are 2. So B goes wrong and C is the correct answer. I hope it's clear. Now, MCQ number 13. When some solid calcium phosphate hydroxide is added to a beaker of water and equilibrium is set up. Okay, we have a question: which compound when added to the equilibrium mixture increases the amount of calcium phosphate hydroxide? Okay, so we need to increase the amount of this one by, okay, so if I add ammonia, if I add ammonium chloride, okay, okay, if I add acid, then it decomposes and it neutralizes, and on neutralizing it, the equilibrium shifts towards the right. So the concentration of this decreases. So it means C is not the answer. Same goes with the ammonium because ammonium ion is acidic in nature. It loses the hydrogen ion, so it neutralizes this, and as a result, the concentration of hydroxide decreases. So equilibrium moves to the right, and the amount of this decreases again. So B goes wrong. Now we are left with A and D, and both are, one is base and one is salt. I think putting salt because it has a sodium ion and a chlorine ion. Yeah. So there is no, it is not going to react with any one of those. So that is not the answer. So A would be the correct answer. And the other reason is, but when we put it, it's an aqueous solution. So when it goes in water, it forms ammonium ion and hydroxide ion. So concentration of hydroxide ion increases, and on increasing this, equilibrium shifts towards the right. So the concentration of this increases as well. So A is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 14. Gaseous hydrogen and gaseous iodine react to form gaseous hydrogen iodide. Okay, and it's a reversible reaction. In an experiment, 2 moles of hydrogen and 2 moles of iodine are placed in a sealed container of a volume of volume 1 dm2. The Kc value for this reaction under conditions used is 9. How many moles of hydrogen iodide are present at equilibrium? Okay, so initially we put 2 moles of this and 2 moles of this, and there are 0 moles. Change and equilibrium. So for example, if we assume that X moles of these two are decreased, so 2x would be increased. So it is going to be 2 minus x, 2 minus x, and it is going to be 2x. So the Kc expression is square of the concentration of hydrogen iodide over concentration of hydrogen times concentration of iodine. So Kc is 9. It is going to be 2x square over 2 minus x whole square. So if I take the under root, so it is going to be 3 is equals to 2x over 2 minus x, right? And if I cross multiply it, so it is going to be 3 2s are 6, and minus 3x is equals to 2x. So Further 6 is equals to 5x, and then x is equals to 6 upon 5. So if you divide 6 divided by 5 is going to be 1.2, which is B. No. So that is the value of x, sorry. So x is 1.2. And they are asking the how many moles of hydrogen iodide. So it is 2x. So this means 2 times 1.2, which makes it 2.4. So that is the correct answer. So don't do hurry. A, B, and C goes wrong. And D is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 15. Why does the rate of gaseous reaction increases when the pressure is increased at a constant temperature? Okay. What we are increasing, we are just increasing the pressure. More particles have energy that exceeds, actually no, not at all, because there is no change in temperature, so there would be no increase in the energy. The particles have a more space in which to move. No, the pressures increase, the particles come closer to each other. The particles move faster. No, because they have a same energy. So how they do move faster? They are more frequent collision. Yes, because they come closer, they are going to collide more frequently. So D is the correct answer. I hope it's clear to all of you. Hello, am I audible? One minute, let me share my screen again. Okay. Now, MCQ number 16. The Boltzmann distribution for a mixture of a gases capable of a reaction is shown. The two curves represent the mixture of gases at 25 degrees Celsius and at 35 degrees Celsius. The activation energies for the catalyzed and uncatalyzed reactions are shown. Okay. So both are occurring at a different temperature and both having a catalyst and uncatalyzed reaction. Which choice is correct? Okay. The number of particles with enough energy to react at 25 degrees Celsius in a catalyzed reaction. So that one is for 25 degrees Celsius. So let me make it a red line. And that is a catalyzed reaction. So it means this is the case. So it means it is going to be just Y plus Z. So A and B are wrong. Is this clear? And either C and D. Now the number of particles with enough energy to react at 35 degrees Celsius in uncatalyzed reaction. Okay. So at 35 degrees Celsius and uncatalyzed reaction. So this is the case. If this is the case, then we have X and Z. So it means this one and this goes wrong. So C is wrong. A and B were already wrong. So we are left with only D option. So D is correct. Yes, what did you not understand? Okay. First see this. This one is 25 and this one is 35. So if I go for a 25 degrees Celsius, then it would be this one. And they are asking for the catalyzed reaction of 25 degrees Celsius. So we have a region which have Y and Z. Is this clear? No, because on y-axis there is a number of particles. On x-axis we have a energy. So that's why the curve with the smaller height and move more towards the right is the one which is at 35 degrees Celsius. So that is for a catalyzed reaction at 25 degrees Celsius. Is this clear? Now, the other one they are asking for uncatalyzed reaction at 35 degrees Celsius. So this one is a 35 degrees Celsius, right? And uncatalyzed means this one. So this region. So it has just X and Z. Is this clear? Okay. Now, MCQ number 17. Which oxide is insoluble in aqueous sodium hydroxide? Okay. So these are acidic. So they do react with the sodium hydroxide. So they dissolve. Aluminum oxide is amphoteric. So it also reacts with sodium hydroxide. So it will also uh, dissolve. So we are left with only option that is A. So A is the correct answer because it's a basic. So two basic oxides won't react with each other, and as a result, group 1 are highly soluble. So magnesium oxide precipitates out. Just give me a minute. Okay. Now question number 18. Sodium and sulfur are burned separately in oxygen. Each reaction has a distinctive color flame. Which row is correct? Okay. So for sodium, we know it's a yellow flame, right? So A and B goes wrong. And for sulfur, it's a blue flame. So D goes wrong. It means C is the correct answer. Okay. Okay. Now MCQ number 19. X and Y are elements in the period 3 of the periodic table. Okay. Y has a greater atomic number than X. Okay. So it means that X is going to be over here in the period 3 on the left and Y is relatively right to the X. The stable ion found by the Y has a greater radius than the stable ion found by the X. Okay. So it means probably Y is forming any negative ion and X is forming any positive ion. The stable ion formed by the Y has 18 electrons. Okay, so that is for sure. If it has an 18 electron, so it is forming the negative ion. Okay, which row is correct? So obviously, if it is forming the positive ion, then the electrons in its ion is going to be 10 because it's in period 3. So when they become cation, the period 3 elements, they got 10 electrons because they have only two shells. So in the two shells, they have only 10 electrons. So C and D goes wrong. The element with the greater atomic radius. So X is going to be have a greater radius. It is because when we move from right to left, the radius decreases. So B goes wrong and A is the correct answer. Now MCQ number 20. X is a group 2 element in period 3 or period 5. Okay. X hydroxide is less soluble in water than in calcium hydroxide. Okay. X nitrate is heated, it decomposes, which row is correct? So if it is less soluble in water, so down the group, the solubility of hydroxides increases. So if it is less soluble, so it means then it must be magnesium hydroxide. So the identity of X would be magnesium because of its less solubility, hydroxide's less solubility in water. So C and D goes wrong. So when magnesium nitrate decomposes, we will get magnesium oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and oxygen. So A is wrong and B is the correct answer, right? Now I'm CQ 21. Which statement comparing magnesium and barium or their compounds is correct? Okay. Magnesium reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid more rapidly than barium does. No, because down the group, barium is below magnesium. Magnesium is over here. Then we have a calcium. Then we have a strontium. Then we have a barium. Barium is below down the group. So barium is more reactive. So A goes wrong. Okay. 1 mole of magnesium carbonate gives off greater amount of gas when it reacts with an excess dilute hydrochloric acid than 1 mole of barium carbonate does. No, both are when both react with the hydrochloric acid, both are in a same group, so both are going to produce same amount of gas. So that is wrong as well. The solubility of magnesium sulfate in water is greater than the solubility of barium sulfate in water. So yeah, when we move down the group, the group 2 sulfate solubility decreases. So it might be an answer. Magnesium carbonate undergoes thermal decomposition less readily than barium carbonate. No, it undergoes more readily than barium carbonate because of the distortion, because magnesium is a smaller size ion and barium is a bigger size ion. So due to this smaller size, it distorts the carbonate ion and the lattice is distorted. So it is going to be easily decomposed. So D is wrong as well. So we are left with only option C. So C is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 22, the color of the silver halides AgCl, AgBr, and AgI differ. Okay, we know. The solubilities of these halide in aqueous ammonia also differ. Yeah. Silver chloride is white, silver bromide is yellow, green, silver iodide is yellow. Which row is correct? Color of AgBr. So color of AgBr we know is green, not yellow. So C and D goes wrong. Silver halide, that is most soluble. So that is silver chloride. Silver iodide doesn't dissolve. So B goes wrong and A is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 23. The name chlorate is used for anion containing chlorine and oxygen only. In a molecule of iodine chloride, the iodine atom has an oxidation number X and chlorine atom has an oxidation number Y. So if you work for these oxidation numbers, so chlorine is going to be -1 and iodine is going to be +1 because iodine is less electronegative and chlorine is more electronegative. When ICl is added to water, iodine is reduced. Okay, so iodine is reduced, so it means it is from +1 to 0. Okay, so and the chlorine is oxidized because it, no, chlorine stays the same, the oxygen is oxidized. So water, oxygen in water is oxidized and this one is reduced. Okay. Which statement about the value of X or Y is correct? X is same as the oxidation number of chlorine in the chlorate ion formed when chlorine is added to any cold anode. X is +1 and when we add chlorine in cold NaOH, what we will get? We will get NaCl and we will get NaClO. And in NaClO, yeah, it's +1. So yeah, X, and that is correct. And chlorine is, yeah, that is correct. X is same as the oxidation number of chlorine when chlorate ion is formed. No, not at all, because when it is formed, chlorine get a +5 oxidation number. So B is wrong. Y is same as the oxidation number of chlorine. No, Y is -1 and over here it's +1. No. So C and D goes wrong. Both is talking about Y. Y is the oxidation number which is -1 and chlorate have a oxidation number of +1. So C and D are also wrong. It means A is the correct answer. Now MCQ number 24. Which statement is correct? And ammonium ion is basic. No, we know ammonium ion is not basic. It's acidic, right? So A is wrong. Nitrogen monoxide reacts with peroxyacetyl nitrate to produce a component of a photochemical smoke. Yes. No, it not a component. Whole photochemical smoke. The PAN is formed. So B is wrong. Nitrogen dioxide catalyzes the oxidation of atmospheric sulfur dioxide. Yes, it does. It turns into NO, turning sulfur dioxide into sulfur trioxide, and then NO reacts readily with the oxygen in air to form NO2 back to, and then it is ready to and convert another SO2 into SO3. Nitrogen is very unreactive due to very strong permanent dipole. No, there is no permanent dipole. So D is wrong. So we are left with only option C. So C is the correct answer. Now MCQ number 25. The diagram shows the structural formula of hydrocarbon molecule Q. How many carbon atoms in a molecule Q are sp2 hybridized? Sp2 carbons are the one which has a pi bond. So if we go 1, 2, 3, these are sp hybridized triple bond. So 3, 4, 5. Interesting, isn't it? There are 5 carbons which are sp2 hybridized. No. Okay, yeah, this is a trick. This one, there are 2 pi bonds, so it is also sp hybridized. Having a 1 pi bond are the sp2. So, see, so there are 4. A, C, and D are wrong, and D is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 26, a compound X is found in cell wall of some bacteria. Its structural formula is shown. Okay. How many stereoisomers are there with this structural formula? Okay. So, there is a 1 carbon-carbon pi bond. So, it means 1 cis trans. Okay. 1 cis trans. This carbon is chiral and this carbon is chiral. So, 2 optical. Till here, is this clear? So, okay, they are asking for the structural isomers. They are not asking for the geometrical isomers. Okay. So, I think you can leave this kind of a question because this is a very whole big structure and you have to figure out how many. So just leave it for the end. We will attempt it at the end. Just complete the rest of the questions. MCQ number 27, structural isomer only should be considered when answering this question. Okay. How many straight chain isomers are there with the molecular formula of C4H8Cl2? Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So if both chlorines are over here, that is one isomer. If both chlorines are over here, that is second isomer, right? If I move further, they are going to be the same. If both chlorines are first or second, third isomer, if it's on second and third, fourth isomer, if it's first and third, fifth isomer, and if it's fourth and first, sixth isomer, I think we can make six isomers. There is no other possibility. So these goes wrong, and the only option is A. You can try, you can't make any more. Okay. Now, MCQ number 28, what is true for every nucleophile? Nucleophile is the one which is electron deficient. So it attacks a double bond, not at all. It doesn't attack a double bond. It donates a lone, no, nucleophile. Okay, it's an electron lover. So it means it has a lone pair, have lone pair of electron. So yeah, it donates. It is a single atom. No, it's not necessary. It can be a molecule. It is negatively charged, not necessary. For example, water and ammonia are not negatively charged. So the B option is correct. Now, MCQ number 29, the diagram shows a synthetic route to produce one methyl cyclohexanone. Okay. Now, so if we were on reacting with HBr, there is a double bond, right? So what is going to happen? That the hydrogen comes over here and bromine comes over here according to the major product. Then, okay, we are heating with aqueous sodium hydroxide obviously to release the, to replace this. So that is this one. It means B, C, and D goes wrong. And A is the correct answer. With ethanolic NaOH, it's elimination, right? Now, MCQ number 30. X and Y are the reagents required to convert one bromopropane into a butanoic acid. Okay. What are the correct identities of reagent X and Y? So if you see, bromine is turning into CN and CN is turning into a carboxylic acid. So bromine to CN is, if you recall, potassium cyanide ethanolic or sodium cyanide ethanolic. And over here, it's it's acidic hydrolysis. So you can use hydrochloric acid and heat or sulfuric acid and heat. So Y is NaOH, not at all. Y is an acid. And X is KCN in ethanol. So A goes wrong. So it means C is the correct answer. I hope it's clear. Now, MCQ number 31, the table shows three sets of reagents and reaction conditions. Okay. So over here, there is a double bond. CH2, the first carbon is CH2, it means there is a double bond. And that's why the reaction is occurring at room temperature. Okay, so that is displacement of OH with the chlorine. And that is nucleophilic, free radical substitution, the third one. The first one is electrophilic addition. The second one is nucleophilic substitution of alcohol. And the third one is free radical substitution. Which set of reagent conditions can be used to produce 2-chloro, 2-methyl propane as one of the organic product? Okay. So if we go for the first one, there is a double bond. And then there is a CH3. So if I react with the HCl, so hydrogen goes to the carbon on the left and the carbon in the middle would get the chlorine. So we are getting 2-chloropropane, 2-chloro-2-methyl propane. So for reaction first will give you. So 1, 1, and 1. So D goes wrong. If you look at the second reaction, The first carbon, there are 3 carbons in the chain. Fourth carbon is a branch, and over here OH. When I react with the SOCl2, so it also gives Cl. So we are getting 2-chloro-2-methyl propanol, so reaction 2 as well. So C doesn't has reaction 2, so C goes wrong. Now we are left with A and B. In the third one, if you see, it's just this. So if you react with the chlorine, so there is a chance that you will get uh, chlorine substituted over here beside the all the other. So reaction 3 also gives. So B goes wrong and A is the correct answer. I think it's understandable. Yeah, because there are all the possibilities in free radical we can't control. So hydrogen can be displaced, either of the any one of the hydrogen can be displaced to give the product. So we can get this product because they are saying can be used to produce as one of the organic product. Yes, so one of the organic product can be formed in all 3 reactions. Okay. Now, MCQ number 32. What are the only structures formed when butane 2-ol is heated with concentrated sulfuric acid? Okay. So butane 2-ol, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, OH. Okay. So it is going to form this one and this one. So this one can be this one, or this one can be like this. So it means this one is here, this one is here, and this one is here. So that is the correct answer. A, C, and D goes wrong. So B is our correct answer for MCQ 32. Okay. Now MCQ 33. The compound leaf alcohol is partly responsible for the smell of new mown grass. Leaf alcohol. Okay, it has a double bond and OH. What will be formed when leaf alcohol is oxidized using excess hot acidified dichromate? So dichromate only oxidizes alcohol, not alkene. Okay. So it means that this carbon is only going to convert into carboxylic acid. So we are getting OH, ketone, breaking. No, these all won't happen because it stays intact. That is only oxidized by KMnO4. So we are excluded the 3. So it means that is the correct answer for sure. Now, MCQ number 34, compound X does not react with Tollens reagent, forms a yellow precipitate, does not react with sodium. Okay. So if it does not react with Tollens reagent, so it's not an aldehyde, not alcohol. So it means it's a ketone, and specifically a ketone with the CH3 bonded to C double bond O. So that's what we have concluded. It's an aldehyde, goes wrong. CH3 C double bond O seems correct. C double, that is an ester, goes wrong. That is an alcohol, goes wrong. So B is the correct answer, right? Now, MCQ number 35, which compound can undergo nucleophilic addition? So nucleophilic additions, which compound undergo, if you recall, either aldehyde and ketone. So halogenoalkane, aldehyde. So it means C and D goes wrong because one is alkene and one is alkene. So B is the correct answer. Okay. MCQ number 36. It's an ester reacted with aqueous acid. So hydrolysis occurs. The product from this reaction are reacted with the LiLH form to 2 molecules Y and Z. What are the identities of molecules Y and Z? Okay. So first hydrolyze it. So on hydrolyzing it, you will get C2H5COOH and CH3OH. On treating with LiLH4, this one would undergo with LiLH4 forming C2H5 Because it when it's reduced, it reduced to aldehyde, and aldehyde further reduced to ketone alcohol, right? So C2H5OH. So Y and Z would be aldehyde and ketone. No, A is wrong. That is a OH on the middle carbon. There is no such thing in the parent structure. So B goes wrong. Okay. So one L is this and one is this, right? So that is over here. So I think C is the correct answer. No, 1 minute. C2H5 CH2OH, because there is a third carbon which turns into aldehyde and which turns into alcohol. So yeah, D is the correct answer, not B, because this is wrong. So C goes wrong and D is correct. Okay. Now MCQ number 37. A sample of propanoic acid mass of 3.70 gram reacts with excess of magnesium. A second sample of propanoic acid of mass of 3.70 gram reacts with an excess of sodium. Both reactions go to completion forming a gas. Which row is correct? Okay. So propanoic acid is going to be C3H6O2 reacting with magnesium. So when it reacts with magnesium, magnesium has a 2 positive charge and it is going to be C3H5O. It loses one hydrogen forming positive, negative one. So two of them will join with Mg and forming hydrogen gas. So we are going to put 2 over here to balance this equation. Okay, when we make the same reaction equation with the sodium, so it is going to be C3H5O2 Na and H2. So to balance this H2, we are going to put 2 and 2. So from this, what we can conclude that both are going to produce same amount of gas. So either this one or this one, B and C are wrong because C 2 moles are producing 1 mole and 2 moles are producing 1 mole. Okay. So now we have to figure out. So 3.70 gram of propanoic acid. Okay. So if I go for the MR of propanoic acid, so C3H6O2 producing, so there are 3 carbons makes it 36 plus 2 oxygens, 32 plus 6. Can you add and tell me the MR? So third 68 and 6 is going to be, is it 84? So, and there are 2 moles. So 2 times 84 is producing 1 mole, which means 24,000 centimeter cube. So if we are using 3.70 grams, then X would be the value of volume of hydrogen. So 3.70 times 24,000 divided by 2 times 84. So 3.70 multiplied by 24,000 divided by 168. Giving 528.5. So it is, yeah, so B goes wrong and A is the correct answer. Okay. MCQ number 38. Which statement about this is correct? Okay, it is a carbon-carbon double bond and a ester. Okay, over here it's an ester. It can be hydrolyzed to produce secondary alcohol. Yeah, it can be hydrolyzed, but not secondary alcohol. It will give you primary alcohol because it's just CH3. So not secondary, but primary. So A goes wrong. It can be made using ethanoic acid. No, it's the acid would be this whole thing. So not ethanoic acid. So B goes wrong. It gives positive test with the alkaline aqueous iodine, not at all because it is going by either aldehyde, ketone, or carboxylic acid. So obviously, if we are sure that the first three are wrong, so it means the D is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 39. Synthetic resins can be made by polymerization of a variety of monomers, including pro-2-in-1 all. Okay. So on first carbon, there is a OH. On the second and third carbon, there is a double bond, which structure represents a repeat, in the polymer polypropylene to all. So there is a double bond. So if we go for it, the double bond. So that's what I have told you. The carbon with the double bond, put it in the middle and put the rest of the thing above and below. So the carbon on the left, put one hydrogen above, one hydrogen below. The carbon on the right, there is a hydrogen and then CH2OH. So what you are going to do, you are going to remove the double bond, turn into a single bond and puts the empty bonds on both the sides. So that goes wrong. Double bond makes it wrong. The three carbon in a row makes it wrong. So C, B is the correct one. Yeah, very good, Arba. Now, MCQ number 40. Vitamin C has the structure shown. The mass spectrum of vitamin C has a molecular ion peak with a mass over charge value of 176 under relative abundance of 7. Okay, so that is the MR of the compound. What is the abundance of M plus 1 peak? Okay, so you can go for a number of carbons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6 carbons. So the number of carbons is equals to 100 upon 1.1 multiplied by abundance of M plus 1 peak over abundance of M peak. So N is 6, 100 upon 1.1 multiplied by abundance of M plus 1 is peak is X, and M peak is 7. So X is equals to 6 times 1.1 times 7 over 100. So 6 multiplied by 1.1 multiplied by 7 divided by 100. So it will give me 0.462. That is A. So it means B, C, and D goes wrong, and A is the correct answer. Okay. Now, okay, my bad. See, they are saying, read the question again. How many stereoisomers are there with this structural isomer formula? Okay, so we have a one carbon-carbon double bond. This is one optical isomer. And this is another optical isomer. Oh, sorry, chiral center. So there are two chiral centers, right? So if you recall, for the total number of stereoisomerism, that is 2 raised to the power n times 2 raised to the power n, where one is the number of carbon-carbon double bond and the other one is the number of chiral centers. So it is going to be 2 raised to the power 1 is 2 and 2 raised to the power 2 is going to be 4. So 4 times 2 is 8. So that is 8. A, B, and C are wrong, and D is the correct answer. Oh, okay, my bad. Just give me a minute. Let me reshare the screen. Okay, they are asking for the stereoisomers actually. So that's what I did. This double bond, this carbon has one hydrogen and one this two different groups. This carbon has one hydrogen and one this whole group. So two different groups. So there is a one double bond and there are two chiral centers. So we have this expression 2 raised to the power n times 2 raised to the power n for the total number of stereoisomerism, where is one n is the number for the carbon-carbon double bonds which can show cis trans isomerism. The other n is the number of chiral centers. So we solve it and we'll get the 8. So there are 8 stereoisomers. Okay, I have ignored this and I got confused at how it will be possible to form a structural formula of this huge molecule. So yeah, it's a stereoisomer. So there are 8. Is this clear? Yes, is it clear, Arba? Okay. So we have ended the paper. Now, inshallah, we'll do the new paper in the next class tomorrow. Okay, till then, take care. Goodbye and Allah Hafiz.